Okay, so I'm going to read about the Old Testament text. The Hebrew Bible has come down to us through the scrupulous care of ancient scribes who copied the original text in successive generations. By the 6th century A.D., the scribes... No, you hold it. Put it over there. Let's see. By the 6th century A.D., the scribes were succeeded by a group known as the Masoretes, who continued to preserve the sacred scripture for another 500 years in a form known as the Masoretic text. Babylonia, can you help her, Araya? Palestine, and Tiberias were the main centers of Masoretic activity. But by the 10th century A.D., the Masoretes of Tiberias, led by the family of Ben Asher, gained the ascendancy. Through the subsequent editions, the Ben Asher text became, in the 12th century, the only recognized form of the Hebrew scriptures. Daniel Bomberg printed the first, I can't read this right, rabbinic Bible in 1516 to 17. That work was followed by 1524 to 25 by a second edition prepared by Jacob ben Chaim and also published by Bomberg. The text of Ben Chaim was adopted in most subsequent Hebrew Bibles, including those used by the King James translators. The Ben Chaim text was also used for the first two editions of the Rudolf Kittel's Biblia Hebraica of 1906 and 1912. In 1937, Paul Kahl published a third edition of Biblia Hebraica. This edition was based on the oldest dated manuscript of the Ben Asher text, the Leningrad manuscript, B19a AD 1008, which Kahl regarded as superior to that used by Ben Chaim. For the New King James Version, the text used was the 1967 to 1977 stuttered edition of the Biblia Hebraica, with the frequent comparisons being made with the Bomberg edition of 1524 and 25. The Septuagint Greek version of the Old Testament and the Latin Vulgate also were consulted. And Araya, in addition to referring to a variety of ancient versions of the Hebrew Scriptures, the New King James Version draws on the resources, Araya, of relevant manuscripts from the Dead Sea caves. Are you thirsty? Go get a drink. In the few places where the Hebrew was so obscure that the 1611 King James was compelled to follow one of these versions, but where formation is now available to resolve the problems, the New King James Version follows the Hebrew text. Significant variations are recorded in the center reference column. So, that is how it's done. You copy and copy and copy. Which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Hello.
Because if I have a copy and you have a copy and everybody has a copy of the Bible, God preserves His Word.
Hello.
You know?
Then
everybody has it.
If everybody had a Bible.
So, alright.
Hey, can I do a part of a video?
No, I'm hanging up. You gotta get ready for school. Love you guys. I pray for all of you YouTubers and Facebookers out there.